welcome to Quick Looks with the Casual Hour, and we're going straight to hell this time. The entire crew is here for a quick look at Diablo IV. Johnny and Chase, how are you?
Doing wonderful, Bobby. Thank you.
I've been to hell. It's nice.
You've been to hell?
It's warm.
I mean, technically, I've literally been to hell. There's a Caribbean island called Hell where they sell a bunch of tourist T-shirts and shit, and I've been there.
Oh,
Well, maybe a little bit different than this one. That sounds nice.
Probably.
This-
Yeah,
you
it
know
was
what?
all right.
This one's, we're not necessarily in hell yet, but where we are, it's nice. Diablo 4 is here. Johnny, you
Yeah.
are a Diablo fan. What do you know about this one?
I know that it came out on June 5th of 2023. It is made by Blizzard. Came out on the PlayStation 4 and 5, the Xbox One, Xbox Series console, and PC. And much to Whoopi Goldberg's chagrin, it does not run on Mac.
It does not. But we're going to check out Diablo 4 today. This is being captured on one of those personal computers. I'll come right out and say I think Diablo 4 is pretty good. We're going to run you through a dungeon here, give a little commentary on the state of things. Johnny and I are playing this together. I'm level 46. Johnny, I think, is level 20 something. We went through the betas, and we are now playing the full release of the video game. For those who are watching, both of us did pick up the ultimate version, which meant that we got to start playing on June 1st. But one of the points we're going to bring up is that I think this version of Diablo is a little bit more challenging than 3, especially. And,
It is.
I mean, it's taking a little bit more planning, a little bit more strategy, and oftentimes a little bit more planning to get folks in the same room with us. So we're gonna run through this dungeon here and show off a little bit of the builds that we've got. I'm running a necromancer. Johnny is playing as a sorcerer, and Chase is here spectating. Chase, you have not played Diablo ever, correct?
I've played a small chunk of 3
Okay.
and thought it was fine. But I've
Yeah.
also played I played all of Torchlight, and I had a really fun time playing the original Torchlight.
So you've played Diablo then?
Yeah, I know what you're doing here.
Okay. This game is what now? 9 years since Diablo 3 came out. Is that correct? Is my math?
That came out in
9, 2010, 12. Okay.
Yeah,
So it's
but
been
how
a
many
bit.
years since Diablo Immortal?
A year.
The last mainline
A year or
Diablo
two.
game.
Diablo Immortal, got a lot of shit, but there's a lot of that game in this game, I think. For better or for worse. But this is they've made this a bit more of a shared experience. It's not
Yeah,
quite an
there-
MMO, but
There is no offline mode.
yes.
It has the person who hit level 100 first and then their game disconnected on hardcore mode lost their character. So
Always a good time. Always a
but-
good time.
I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah. It's a very good game.
Yeah, I played a lot of 3 on the Switch. And I played it mostly by myself. And this one, like you pointed out, it's a lot harder. And I don't think I've even hit the point of the game when it really ramps up in difficulty.
Yeah, I think I'll call out too. Like I have played Diablo 3. I've played Immortal. I played 2 way late in life, so I missed it when it was popular, or at least I don't want to say it's always been popular, but I missed when it was was like the standard. Yeah, like it feels old now. Is what I'm trying to say. Like there's been some modern enhancements to the way that these games play, and I think that Diablo 4 has been the most accessible in a lot of ways. Like that first level 1 to 20, I think is fantastic. You really can get a good feel for what the game is. It just becomes tough to master, in my opinion. After level 20, it becomes way more intense. To where if you're not really planning out your gear, your build, what you want to be doing from a damage, or really in this case more defensive standpoint, you're gonna wipe quite a bit. And the way that the game works is also really impressive. They do a few things from Johnny, hang tight here for a second. I want to pull up the menu. So we're playing on World Tier 2. You can see that over by the mini map, which when you first start the game, this is the hardest difficulty that you can get. You can increase that as you progress the story. But what they've done is I'm playing in Johnny's world right now, and he is a level 28 to my 46. But everything that I encounter while in his instance is going to be level 46. And they do a pretty good job of making it feel equally challenging for both of us, regardless of what world you're in. If you do go into a further progressed story, like if Johnny joined my game, he would not get credit for some of those stories because I've already done them. So,
and it is a little different because it used to be, you know, if you had a buddy that was way ahead of you, they could join you on the lower level dungeons and just help you level up to get to where they are. But that's not really the case anymore.
I mean, they still can. They're just not going to stomp everything for you.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You know,
the other thing I'll call out with that also is the game. It's just not with that. It's also the fact that if I went into a dungeon, which has happened, and I did not do well, I'm like, okay, I need to level up. Well, the dungeons level up with you, and that's the thing that sucks. Is that it's not like I could go and get better. I can get better gear. I can maybe unlock more skill sets. But when I come back to that dungeon, it's going to be at my level, and so that's a little hard. That's a little.
I've always found that to be a weird system. On one hand, it's nice that you can go anywhere and continue to have a challenging, fun experience. But on the other hand, what's the point of leveling up if
everything is the same,
better than anything else? Like, yeah.
Well,
That's
not to
always been a
mention
weird one to me.
they've got they have strongholds now in the game as well, and those strongholds are always going to be 2 to 4 levels higher than you, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And so that can be a little frustrating and challenging, but again, that is a minor complaint on my end because I've been fortunate enough to go into public events, which is something new in the game. They're not called public events, but if you played a game like Destiny, you're familiar with what that process is, where there'll be random events that take place that require you to do a series of events, and also you can get a master level of it if you beat it in a certain amount of time. And you can usually find people. That's one of the cool things about having a shared world. When you see people in towns, they will be fighting stuff out in the open world. They won't come into these dungeons with you unless you party up, but anything in the open world, you can find people doing something and just kind of farm it with them, which is nice.
How big of a party can you have?
I think
people?
4. Yeah, 4. We've played with 4, at least on our end here, and it's fun. It's a really good time. The classes are still going through some balancing. There was a report put out. The most popular class so far is Sorcerer, which is what Johnny's playing as. I see a lot of mages and necromancers, but the melee classes had a lot of controversy during the betas as not being high enough damage output in those early games. The druid and the rogue, the druid and the barbarian specifically, but they've been balancing stuff out, and that's one thing I'll call out. They've been pretty responsive
after they come out. At least they have in the past. I don't see why this would be any different.
Correct.
I mean, they were still doing new seasons for Diablo 3, up until a few months ago.
Very true.
Now this is Blizzard, so have they announced any features that they're not going to be doing anymore?
Not yet, Chase.
Okay.
Not yet. The Battle Pass is not present at launch, but if you pre-order the Ultimate version, it comes with like the Premium Battle Pass and some level skipping, but that's not live currently. They do have they have a shop on here. You can buy it. Everything's purely cosmetic. The shop does not do pay to win or any of that stuff. You can put money into it if you choose to. The Battle Pass obviously will have some stuff that is paywalled as well. I don't know what that's going to look like quite yet, but currently the shop is only for cosmetics for you and for your mount.
So just like a super high level, a few sentences. What do each of your characters do? Like, what's your game plan here? What are your skills? What are you trying to do with your build?
I'm a necromancer that has foregone using what you probably have seen with the necromancer, which is an army of corpses and skeletons hanging out with me, and I've chosen to sacrifice them, which gives me a higher crit build. And I'll explain that. It's a little bit more than just a few sentences, but I can explain it later on. But I am using a blood spear followed by tendrils and explosions, and I'm really focusing more on support in the sense that I can handle large groups of people very quickly. I don't do great single target damage, but I'm awesome at protecting the ads from getting to people and clearing out rooms.
Okay. Johnny?
Well, as you can see, I'm casting a blizzard spell here that will freeze enemies and make them vulnerable to other frost spells. So I've got some good AoE spells that I can cast. I have this teleport move, which lets me teleport, and it also does some electric damage to enemies that I pass through. Fireball.
So are you like a little bit more single target, or are you using the big ice spells and things to be more AoE?
Yeah, I have this ice spell that shoots
Here, hang tight here, Johnny. Don't this
ice
thing
bullets, basically.
So you see how all these corpses are around, Chase?
Mm-hmm.
Those I can, if one of those drops, I can pull tendrils out of it. So I have that one highlighted. That will grab everything and bring it in, and then I can do my explosion. The other thing I can do is go into, I think it's called a blood mist, and that will take life away, but I have a legendary equip that triggers all the corpse to explode as well. In this Book of the Dead, you can see I have everything sacrificed. So by these skeletal warriors, I get a 5% increase. Now, because I sacrificed the mages, I get a 15% damage to vulnerable enemies. So if anybody gets caught up in those tendrils that I have, that automatically gives me an extra 15% vulnerable on them. And then the other thing that I have is when I sacrifice the golem, I get 30% increased critical strike damage. So this big hit that I have comes from my bone spear, which you can see here. Essence cost, my lucky hit chance. My bone spear is going to break out because I got a modifier on it to 3 shards when I hit and destroyed. But the bone spear makes the first enemy hit vulnerable for 3 seconds. I also have on my scythe this here. Bone spear's primary attack makes enemies hit beyond the first vulnerable for 5.0 seconds. Bone shards from bone spear deal 225% bonus damage to vulnerable enemies. So if I pull
a lot of numbers,
yeah, like I am hitting really hard, but I get hit hard myself. So it's cool. Like people are like, why don't you have any skeletons out there with you? Is because I do really big numbers right now by myself, and it's a very different take on that style.
It's like you posted a popular tweet, you're doing numbers.
Yes.
But I mean, being Diablo, you showed the big tree there. Somebody could absolutely build into bringing an army of undead guys
that's how I played it basically to level 30.
Yeah, that's what I did in 3, you know, because I played a necromancer there, and that was the coolest part about it, was having this portable army with me.
Yeah, I think you didn't start with the necromancer, right? That was DLC.
And
that
3,
came later.
Correct.
No auction house, real or fake.
Not that I've seen.
Not at this time, no.
Yeah.
I think they may have learned their lesson there.
Yeah, totally. So I just pull all those guys in, and then just big damage.
Big damage.
And look, the game continues to just be a really great time of going to these dungeons, hit your loot, get gear, and I feel like it's paid off. Like, I've gotten very good drops. I've gotten a lot of legendary stuff. I feel very much like the effort is being matched with reward, and that's something that on games like this will make or break it for me. I'm not going to do this hamster wheel if I don't have a payoff at some point in time.
When you had the skill tree pulled up, there was something that said refund. Are you able to just kind of
Oh yeah,
take
it's
off
Yeah,
and
you
turn on
can-
skills at will?
You can
Yep.
respec whenever you want, and it's very inexpensive.
Nice.
yeah, that's been very cool.
Yeah, that was something I noticed in the beta. Like it really seems to encourage you to experiment, you know, and not feel like, oh man, I really fucked up with this build that I made. Which is nice because, you know, it's not like Path of Exile,
Right.
but it is, you know, a sizable skill tree, and you might not know what you want to do whenever you start the game.
Yeah, and you're gonna, you know, probably watch a YouTuber who's gonna go, here's my Diablo build, and you'll go, oh yeah, I like that. Maybe I
That's
can...
doing numbers. Yeah.
The other thing you might find out is like you get a piece of legendary gear finally, and you didn't realize that it had the ability to enhance something to a broken state. So like, well, I'm gonna build around that weapon, and that can be really cool. When we get out of here, we'll head back to town, and I'll show off some of the things you can do there. But Chase, you being the big Destiny fan, I think that there's some stuff that's gonna feel familiar on how you can make gear more equipable for what you're looking for. And they've got a really neat transmog system this time around, which is something they have not done in previous Diablo games. You can actually customize your character down to how they look with like makeup, tattoos, facial hair, etc., all that stuff, and you get to really put yourself in the game from the clothing you wear as well.
Yeah.
By breaking those down, they become just this huge arsenal of transmogging. So like right out of the gate, you can look the part while you're equipping non-matching shit, which is super handy.
It's great because you can make your character, like if you get a really cool looking piece of gear that you out level, you know, but you still love the way it looks, you can absolutely keep that look if you want to.
Yeah. When you're playing and things are dropping and you're looting stuff, are you just getting stuff that works for your character? Or
No,
sometimes
you
you're
get stuff
getting-
that's for other ones as well.
Okay.
I died, by the way.
All right, I'll be right there. Let me get these guys off my ass and I'll help you out.
Sorry, Johnny. He's a necromancer that doesn't bring people back to life. That's the
the
his
whole build, man.
So you're screwed.
There you are. There he is. When you die, they have a pretty generous respawn point, but you come back with your gear 10% less effective. And then you have to go back into town and pay a blacksmith to bring it back to its state. So you can stay where you're at, but we can leave anytime we want to head back to town and come right back to this point of the dungeon, which is super nice too. So like if my gear slots are full, I can just be like, all right, cool. I'm gonna run to town, turn some shit in, and then come right back to this fight. And
You got
that's
an EP.
yep. I'm also playing
town portal scrolls, or
no,
do
it's
they-
just built in. It goes to your last town. It'll pull just by holding down on the D-pad, and then when you're in town, you can also teleport to your party members if you want versus your last spot. So that's a pretty great way to like break things up. Hey, I'm gonna hang out in town for a little bit. I'll just go right to you when I'm done here versus making
We
somebody
need to go
wait.
this way. Oh, there's enemies over here.
I need more time.
So that's been pretty nice. The other thing is they've done a great job making this work with a controller across the board. If you're playing this on console or on PC, I think it's a very cozy experience to play with a controller, and highly
that's
recommend it.
That's the first word I would say when it comes to Diablo.
Yeah. Well, you don't play it, so you wouldn't know, but
Your cozy little scythe and your cozy little skeleton
Yes.
man.
yeah.
Yeah, it's quite
absolutely.
cozy.
Yeah, those of us who play know.
It's really
very
should've just
cozy.
been on the wholesome direct.
I mean, it's it is one of my more relaxing games I play. Personally.
Great podcast game.
It is. Like, it is a easy game to just hop into, run around, kind of shut my brain off a little bit, and have a great time. Like, I find it very comforting in that sense. Oh, wow.
That was it.
What?
Okay.
I have no room here. Can I drop some other... Actually, let's do that really quick. Is that okay? I'm going to put a portal down because I need to go
I think no, it said dungeon complete.
Okay. So I just did the TP. That's going to take me back to the last town that I was in. And here you're going to have usually right by your town portal. So we're in Kovashad, which is the main town in the game. And they've got everything you need right here. Up here is where your storage is. Over here is where your blacksmith is. So when I pull this up, I have turned on one thing I'll call out here in the quick look for anybody who's not aware. If you go to game and you go down to options and you go over to gameplay, there's a few things I would turn on. Advanced tooltip compare and advanced tooltip information. Both are very handy, especially if you're not using a mouse to like tool over things. But they've got all the color coding here. So I've got a full range of gear. I'm gonna start marking stuff as junk. Johnny, you're using wands, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna drop some
Wand
wands
and a
for
focus.
you. All right, I'll drop those for you so you can pick these up and see if they're worth a damn. Is that a focus? There's a focus for you. Any more wands? Yep, got a yellow wand for you.
Is there any sort of level requirement to be able to equip these things for Johnny?
Yeah, they are leveled above me at this time. So I will put them in my stash.
And that is one thing. You have a shared stash across characters.
Yes,
too.
that is quite handy.
All right. Oh, I did not mean to drop those. I just need to mark those. So let me go break these down really quick. I have not been selling anything. I've just been getting all the materials so I can go and upgrade.
They give you so much gold. Like,
I know.
unless it's an unbreakdownable item, then I will sell it. That happens occasionally.
I got these legendary pants that they don't really do anything for me as far as the build that I'm going with. Like the basic skill that they're going to give here is a 20% damage reduction, which is nice. I don't need that necessarily. I'm not going to wear these because I also have pants equipped right now that give me an additional 2 points on my corpse explosion, which is a major engine in my build. So Chase, what I'm going to show you is you can actually pull the aspects for a one-time use out of a legendary item. So if I come over here, I can go in here and I can grab a legendary to be destroyed, which is going to be these pants, and that will give me that aspect. So now I'll have this pulled out. It's going to cost 33,000 coin, but I got 40,000 or 400,000. I'm sorry. So I'll do that, and I just destroyed that legendary. But now, if I go back over to my character, you can see where I'm on the equipment tab, consumables, quest, and now I have an aspect. So this is a defensive one. I can put that on another piece of gear because that is a really handy thing to have. 20% damage reduction is nice, but I don't need that right now on what I have. And if you look underneath the allowed item types, you've got helm, chest armor, pants, and the amulet, which the power increase would be 50%. So if I found an amulet that I liked, I could just slot in this aspect to it and increase its output by 50%. So that's a pretty handy thing to do. So now I've got essentially a legendary aspect that's hanging out waiting for a piece of gear to go into, and I haven't lost that, but I no longer have the gear that it came on.
So I mean, that is basically just the kind of like socket system that other games would call it.
Yeah, essentially. Okay. So then I have also like these that have spots to take it. Like I can put these gems in there, and these are like the chipped ones. So if I come up here to, I'll show this little area off. This is where you can do your wardrobe. But if I go to my stash, I've been hanging on to all my other items here to basically break down when I'm ready to get those things pulled out of it, and I had a little bit more money. But I also have, rather than just having a chipped emerald, I've got a crude emerald, and I can take those in and make chipped. And there's a lady in town here that will let me do those things. You can also destroy an item that has a ruby or something in it and retain it. But for the time being, I'm just going to dump these other ones back into my stash and clear those up.
While you're in your stash, what is you got a scythe in there that looks like it's got some yellow pips in the bottom right? What is that?
Yeah, this is one I was running with for a really long time. I've upgraded it. So I upgraded that 3 times and was using it for a long time in it. This one has an awesome corpse tendrils increase. I'd like to get this back. So if I could have that and my bone spear ability that I have, like that would be very, very, very good for what I'm looking to do. So I'm just not at a point yet where I feel like it would be in my best interest to break a bunch of stuff down. I wanted to break that one thing down for the quick look here, but that's what that's for. The other thing is that you can change your ensembles. So if you wanted to just save loadouts, you could do so. This is where you can change your actual appearance of your character. And you can also go into each piece of your wardrobe. So if I wanted to change what my top looked like, this is where I can choose all the things that I've broke down. And certain legendary items and other ones in your inventory, let me see if any of these say it here. Some of them will tell you, yeah, unlocks new look on salvage. So if I break this thing down, this rare focus, I can then apply that look to any other focus I get once I break it down. Then I have that forever, that style. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's where you go and change that. One of the other things they've added into it, Johnny does not have this yet. They've added mounts into the game, and this is locked behind a rather long in the game story quest. That's one of my bigger complaints. They should give you this mount much earlier in the game. But you can get a mount. They have a bunch of different styles you can get, especially if you like pre-ordered it. There's like Twitch drops you can get. But that's a nice addition for just traversing through the world.
Does the mount get you anything other than faster walk speed?
There's a cool ability I get when I jump off of it into battle. Just like a big shockwave attack, which is nice.
Okay.
The other thing I'll call out is down here. It's not the auction house, but if you want to gamble, you are getting this currency in the game. I can't remember what it's called. Oobles. So when you have those, you can come down here to this purveyor, and you can roll the dice a little bit. I need a helm to be legendary. So let's see if I can get a cap. It's got 130. No, I didn't get it. So I got these two down here, both mast helms. Not going to do a lot for me. So I'm just going to change those out and go from there. Johnny, have you had any gear that unlocks a part of your skill tree?
Yeah, like it grants you a specific skill.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing too. Like you can actually get an extra ability that you can then assign to your. So if I come over to that on the skill tree, it's big. Like there's a lot here, but certain things like this is a good example. Corpse explosion only goes up to 5, but my item contribution has given me an 8 out of 5 for this. So I'm getting more damage from it. But there'll be other ones that I have, like Iron Maiden. I do not have this at all, but I could go in now that I have item contribution towards it and have that be something I could equip if I wanted.
So those don't activate until you actually have the thing, but once you have the thing, it gives you bonus.
There's certain ones that like you don't even have to have the thing unlocked. Like your helmet gives you that ability, and so then I could be like, oh, okay, cool, I've got that ability while I have this helmet on. I'll do that. Johnny, what else should we show off here? I feel like
I think we covered quite a bit.
Here's the map. It's very big.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this game. It's a very large game.
The blue circles are side quests that you need to go into. So you can see here, seek out Orden and Kata. Those are the side quest. You have your main quest, Codex of Power. These are all the things that you can get for completing certain dungeons. This is like the big deal here. Like these aspects are what you're going to want to use. Some of these can just always be applied. Other ones are going to be one-time use. So like these here, I can just keep using over and over again. But the one that I pulled out of that gear, I can't. There's challenges that you can get to unlock new things, which is handy. Whole social piece of it. They've got the clans. The shop, let me show this off really quick. Again, this is purely cosmetic, but there are different recommended things that they're going to give you right out of the gate, and then they have it broken down by class. So for the necromancer, I could get this desert armor that they've got,
Very good.
which is cool. Like, it's got a nice look to it, but not necessarily like the style I'm going for. Oh, I will show that off. That sleeping wolf backpack was part of the beta. If you reached level 20 in the beta, you got this, and I think it's very good. I like that little wolf sleeping on my back quite a bit.
Yeah, I've got that on there. I don't plan on taking it off anytime soon.
Here's the charges that they'll make you pay for their currency. So 200 is $2. This 2,800, $25 is like the highest tier cosmetic bundle you can get is a $25 bundle.
How much was that last outfit that you just showed off, the desert one?
If you wanted to get that whole setup,
For your return.
oh, not that one. That's a trophy. This is 1,500. So if we go over to the platinum,
Consider the cards.
there's not a great. I mean, you'd be spending
Yeah,
$15.
Yeah, about $15. All right.
Yeah. So I think that's a pretty good overview of what Diablo is. Like, this is a loot game, a dungeon crawler. It's more challenging than 3. I think that the style is way better. The quality of life stuff's there. It has crossplay, so you can play with your friends across the board.
How many hours would you say both of you have put in so far?
Oh
I
gosh.
think a lot.
Yeah, not as much as Bobby has, because I've been also playing a lot of Street Fighter. But I'm having a good time with this.
Yeah, I think there's 6 acts. I believe I'm almost to act 4, if not already there. And the story's been really, really compelling. Lilith is a very, very interesting villain, and they've done some incredible work with the cinematics in this game. It just looks insane what they're doing with telling the story. I like it quite a bit.
Blizzard's
Always on top of it, man.
always on point with the cinematics.
I mean, I'm not here necessarily. The story's is not what's pushing me forward. I want better gear. I want that ultimate build. Like, that's the drive for me. But I am having a ton of fun, and I've only played a handful of Diablo games, but I can confidently say I think this is the best it's ever been, and I'm having a lot of fun with it for sure. And if you want to see us play it live, we do that. Johnny and I have played it. We're usually joined by friends of the show for those Friday night streams, which is on twitch.tv/The Casual Hour at 10:30 p.m. Central. Chase and I get together on Monday nights and play games as well. Usually not like Diablo, but we have a lot of fun with turn-based strategy and run-based games. And if you want to hear more of our in-depth thoughts without the gameplay, we record our podcast, The Casual Hour, every Wednesday night at 10:30 p.m. right there on Twitch as well. And if you've enjoyed our quick looks, we put them up twice a week. So like and subscribe to this channel. We'll make sure that you get good quality content at all the time, including those streams I mentioned. We bring those over to YouTube as well. And if you just want to hear what we have to say without listening or without watching us, I should say, Fridays at 10, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can get a new podcast from us every week. Chase, Johnny, any other final thoughts before we sign off of this quick look?
No. Diablo's fun.
Yeah,
Diablo
seems
is
pretty
fun. Awesome. Well, we will be back with more quick looks and live streams, so please like and subscribe, and we will talk to you all then. Take care.